This is the help video for branch circuits. It also includes editing from the audit trail. To go into the branch circuit module, you go under the heading for wire and conduit takeoff and click on the next to last module called branch circuits. Now you'll notice it automatically fills in 1/2 inch EMT because that's a common size and type of conduit. Right below that, it also puts in 3 number 12s, THHN copper stranded. Again, that's a pretty common option here. For the overall length, we're going to put in 1,500 feet. And for the number of runs, we're going to put in 75. Now, a run is a real simple concept, so don't overthink it. It simply means when you go from a starting point to an ending point. So it could be from one junction box to another, from one fixture to another, from one receptacle to another. Every run is going to give you 2 terminations. In this case, it's going to give you 2 1/2 inch set screw steel connectors. We don't put elbows in on 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch EMT because the program assumes they're going to bend the pipe in the field. That's already factored in. Now it's also going to give us a coupling for every 10 feet of pipe because the EMT doesn't come with a coupling. And we're going to leave the standard selection of a 1-hole strap for every 8 feet. And we'll go ahead and hit takeoff. Now, if you look at the audit trail down here, the next to last line generated 4,725 feet of the number 12 wire. The way it came up with that calculation is that it took 3 times 1,500, 3 wires for 1,500 feet of conduit. That gives you 4,500 feet. And then it automatically adds 5% for makeup and waste. And it only does that for sizes 10 and smaller. You'll see a little bit later when we take off number 8 or number 6, anything larger than number 10, it'll prompt us for the makeup in feet. Those are all settings that the user can change either within the job or they can change them within the default settings. So next I want to take off some home runs with 3/4 inch conduit and 7 number 12s. And then for the overall length, if I've got 10 home runs that are an average of 50 feet apiece, my total overall length would be 500 feet. Number of runs would be 10. Again, we don't need elbows because it's 3/4 inch. That's going to be a field bend. I am going to change the support to a beam clamp with a conduit hanger. And again, we'll go ahead and hit F2 takeoff. Now, if I want to edit that last entry or any entry, for example, let's say I want to change that last entry to 600 feet of conduit. You need to go into the audit trail by double clicking. And then you single click on any line from the entry you want to change. And then you select edit to source. You can also get edit to source with the right mouse click. Then all we're going to do is change the length to 600 feet. And then when you hit save changes, it'll recalculate not only the conduit, but the fittings and wire. Now, if you do want to change one line and not have it recalculate, for example, we've got 75 with the beam clamps. If I want to change that to 100, we just double click on it. Up here in the top right is the quantity. I'll change it to 100. Hit OK. Now you'll notice it turns the entire entry blue. That's basically telling you that you overrode the program. You changed something from the way it would normally do the calculations for that assembly. So we're going to go back to branch circuits here and make it a little more challenging. We're going to change the conduit size to 1 inch. And we're going to change the type of conduit to GRC. Now you'll notice it automatically changes some of the fittings down here. We'll look at that in a minute. I'm going to put in 3 number 6s and 1 number 10 for a ground. And then for the overall length, putting in 180 feet, 2 runs. So again, it doesn't matter whether it's 2 90-foot runs or a 100-foot run and an 80-foot run. It's a total of 180 feet for 2 runs. We're going to enter 2 elbows. That's a total of 2. And I'm going to change the support. Instead of the beam clamp, I'm going to do one of the rubber blocks that has the unistrut built in. Now we can still take off additional fittings. With GRC or rigid conduit, a common fitting might be an LB, a conduit. That would be under other items. Then when you hit select items, we can go to metallic fittings and elbows, down to the GRC IMC fittings and conduits. And there are the LBs, and we'll put in 2. Then we're going to close that window. Now this time when I hit takeoff, it's going to want to know the amount of makeup wire I want per foot at both ends. So if I want 5 feet at each end, you just put 10. And you'll see all the fittings that generated down here on the audit trail at the bottom part of the screen. Now, we have a shortcut button that we use in a lot of places throughout the program. It's called Saved Assemblies. What this gives you is a list of common assemblies for that part of the program. So when I click on Saved Assemblies, because I want to go back to half-inch EMT with 3 number 12s, instead of changing every line here, or almost every line, we're going to go to Saved Assemblies, go to the first folder for EMT set screw steel fittings with stranded wire, and we'll pick the first one, which is half-inch with 3/12s, and that resets the whole screen. I don't have to do it one line at a time. We're going to put in another 500 feet and 25 runs and hit F2 takeoff. That's the branch circuit takeoff module.